Good evening. Welcome back to Lily's place. Tonight we're going to do a couple things. We're going to do some staining with Hunterline's Weathering Mix. It's the blue-gray. And then we're going to also top it off with some streaking grime. Yes, I use streaking grime as a aging texture. I could also do alternative stuff, but I did not make it to Hobby Lobby, and they are closed on Sunday. So I thought about it and says I wanted to try something a little different. So we're going to use the Hunterline blue-gray. Hunterline is from Canada. It's made in Canada. They have good stuff, and I used to use it sparingly. And it's good stuff. I also use Vitero. And just so you know, their directions say shake bottle well before using. Use straight from the bottle. Then it tells you to visit their website for more detailed instructions. Works well on wood, plastic, paper, cardboard, and hydrocal. To clean up, you need to wash brushes in soap and water or isopropyl alcohol. So very easy stuff to use. I find it's very friendly, and in most cases, if you are being careful, it can be forgiving, depending on how heavy or how light you are doing your application. Now, as a practice, I typically go heavy and take off, but that's only in certain applications, more or less towards my paint, because I can thin the paint out. I can't really thin and remove stain. Stain absorbs in and stays, whereas paint, it only absorbs so much at once, so you're able to thin it out and pull off a little bit. Stains are different. They go in and they don't come out. You can thin them out a little bit, but not so much. Once it's in, and you're going to get what you get. So that's why I say, if you are applying your stain or your AK products, use them little at a time. You might find that you get a perfect effect or look better than what you're hoping for, because you're doing it slower and little at a time. The only aspect I do a lot, because I like to do a different look, I usually apply just slightly a bit more heavy paint, and then I use on top of a thinner of either white spirit or isopropyl alcohol. Those are the two that I mainly use. And then, or whatever you prefer to use for the thinner, I'll take and wet. Similar effect to what we do with laying our ballast for a track. You break the tension by using some isopropyl alcohol, and then you lay down your wood, your glue and water mix, and it just pulls it right down into it, and it holds. Well, I do isopropyl alcohol to open the pores of the wood, and then I brush on a little thicker, and I keep brushing until it's smooth and thinned out, and I get the level of color that I want. And then once that's achieved, I just kind of spread it out as I go along quickly, and I use what's on the wall that I'm working with, and I take it and I use every bit that I put on there, but I thin it out and make it all even look. And sometimes after I'm done with that, I'll go back through with a paper towel or a sponge or something, and as it's drying, I will give an effect to my paint that I'm doing to show some aging. And another effect I do is I take a piece of tape, and what I do is I let it dry, and then I pull up a little bit at a time, you know, and that works too. So, but tonight we're going to do tonight's project, we're going to use the blue-gray, and we're going to try to do our best to dry brush, just because this stuff doesn't need a whole lot, just because it absorbs. And then once that sits a minute, we are going to turn around and go over with some streaking grime. So the streaking grime is just going to give it just a highlight. So let's go ahead and start and see. Yeah, we'll use this brush that I have. So I just start out by dipping it in my thing there, and I take what I can out. I don't like to waste this stuff, so I just kind of just do this to it after I dip it in, and then I just kind of brush what I can off. So I'm saving some of it. And then what I do is I just take it on the towel and just dab, dab, dab. And then I'm going to just kind of come down in here and just kind of brush it on. And when I do this, I'm just going to just kind of, you know, let what comes out of the brush go on. Like I said, you're not going to need a whole lot. You're not trying to make this look so abandonedly bad. I'm just staining it kind of an aged look. And sometimes I don't even add a second coat if it comes out good. You know, it's just all on your preference. So, you know, I just empty this out, and I'm just trying to do that. And then what I'll do is I'll go back through and I'll do another little bit. Dab, 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 dab. And this is what I do when I have it already on the building, and it's okay. Because I'm going to use the brown as a highlight, a little bit of a change color. And it'll be all right. It doesn't have to be perfect, because you're gonna see some of the newer wood on there and some of the older wood, and so when you do this, it doesn't have to be perfect. Do a little bit more in there. I still haven't found my light yet, guys, so bear with me. I will show you. You've seen what it looks like before. So I'm just kind of going back over this. Just trying to make sure I got all my angles covered here. And it's not, like I said, it doesn't have to be entirely perfect. Okay, so just looking at what I did, you know, getting that rusticy deck out back type thing to go with the motif that I'm already gotten. So as this dries here for a minute, I'm gonna kind of go back over it, and you're gonna start to see the blue-gray dry. And as I do it, I'm drying my brush out just so any of the excess that's in there I don't want will come back out. Some will come back out. It will absorb into the brush, but you got to be willing to work what you're working in the area. Back and forth. Okay, so let me zoom in on this for a second so you can see the look of it now that I'm done working this layer. So you saw what I did, and it's a blue-gray, and it's not, you can tell this from this angle that you can still see the wood underneath on the decking, and that is good because that means the lighter colors will get some streaking grime, but I'm going to do this in a way that will kind of help. It's an enamel, so I really want to do a dry brush on this to just try to give it a little bit of addition to this. And as I do this, I just want to give enough. I'm just kind of brushing it, and that's the reason why I like this, is that this is these are alcohol-based inks, I believe. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this Hunter line is 70% isopropyl alcohol and leather dye. So this is leather dye and also isopropyl alcohol. So it dries quickly. So right now I'm just kind of dragging my brush over it to give kind of a textured look as it's drying, like this, because then it gives it a little bit of a worn look as it dries and all that. And that's all I'm doing. Now what I'm going to do is I'm shaking up my streaking grime. And I need to grab my other stuff too, because I believe it's what I need for this. Okay, I think, yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my white spirit for enamel products, and I'm going to thin down the streaking grime so it's not so bad on that. So this is how it's gonna go down. I'm going to close the cap on my hunter line so we don't, and set it out of the way so we don't spill it. Shake up the spirits, get that all mixed up. Shake up the streaking ground so that's all straightened out. Haven't used it for a while, so I had to shake it up really good. And when you don't use it, the cap is on really tight. Unless this is my new bottle I grabbed. Might be the new bottle. So what I use is I use the cap. So because I shook it up, I don't know if you can tell, not the greatest light, but there, you see how shiny that is? That will probably be enough for me to do what I need to do, because I'm going to take this mineral, the spirit here, and I'm going to put it in the cap. And what I'll do when I'm done is I'll wipe out the cap, that way none of it gets in the bottle. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to just add just ever so, just like that. Thin this all down. See how it made that, all that liquefied in there? And just brush off the brush. And then I'm going to dab, dab, dab. And I'm just going to kind of lightly brush. It's going to go over this. And it's just going to give it a little bit, all it's going to do, guys, is it's literally just going to give it kind of a brownish color on top of the blue-gray, and allow the blue-gray to still shine through. And that's the only thing it's going to do. And I'm going to try to show it to you real quick. So that's okay. So now I mean, it's just literally just applying it. So now I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll get you a closer look. Okay. All right. So I'm hoping that this is going to come. I'm going to bring it up more in the light so you can see it. So there. So I hope you can see the brown that's right in here. I got the brown in there. This light, there we go. So you got some browns from this enamel wash that's there. A lot of this is from weather. See how that all aged? I did it by applying the other stuff and just kind of dabbling it off like that. I got the blue-gray stain on there. It's an alcohol base, so I got it in there and let it dry for a moment. And then I turn around and use an enamel and enamel with the AK Streaking Grime. And what it did is, after thinning it down, it adds that grime to the decking and gives it an old age. And as you can see, as it's drying, you get that black, that blue, the wood color in there, and then the brown on top of all of that, which goes a little bit better now. You look at it, and it goes with the roof. So when this dries, it'll look a little bit different because it's still wet, but it is what it is, and it's going to be this way. It's an older rustic deck, still functional, and it works. And I like how it's coming out. I mean, I still got to do the stairs. I haven't done anything with the stairs yet. I have to put the stairs in right here after I get them done. Then once those are in, we're one more step closer to being done. I got to do some more supports for the upper part of for the decking, the extension, just to make it look a little more realistic looking. But man, does this look like it's coming together. It is starting to shape up, and I'm happy with that. And I got to get this the bottom part fixed. It's just, as you can see, it's not all there. I got to get it re-glued. I missed a spot, so I'll get that re-glued, and get some supports in here and get it all anchored in. It'll look a lot better. But yeah, this is looking good. It's not perfect, but it is coming together. So yeah, that's tonight's little project. So later this week we will continue on with this project, and hopefully I will come up with a actual application I want to do to the stairs, because right now I have the stairs right here, and they did not glue very well. So they are glued though, and I'm working with the application. As you guys saw in my last video, I did the distress grand. So these are the stairs they're going to be going in, and then these are the stairs that I've been working with. So I will get these done and figure it out, and then we will figure out what we're going to do with the main stairs, get that done, and then get them installed so that we don't have to worry about it. That's coming up later this week. So hopefully in the next day or so I can work with the stairs, get what I want done and go over that with you guys in the next video later this week. As I start this week, I start my new position, so I'm off a little earlier and can get things done a little earlier at home, so I might have a chance to sit down and do a little more work on my projects. But you know, looks like I got a little bit of work to do there. That's okay. That's just minor touch up. So but yeah, that's what I wanted to do tonight. I wanted to get this stained. That's my stain. I love how it has that the wood look underneath still, but yet has that blue gray age look with kind of the brownish grime look to it, and you have it kind of goes with the roof, and it looks pretty good. And then you got the blue gray the blue gray building, and if you look at it, it's a little bit different. It's darker, grimy look up there, and then you got the clean down here, and like they maintain the bottom part. The roof and the upper decking hasn't gotten done yet, and that's kind of cool. And then you got the windows and all that. So that's pretty much it for this video. Just wanted to show you how I did it. So to recap real quick, we brushed on as much as we could. We use this isopropyl alcohol based weather mix blue gray from Hunterline, and we just dabbed it in, ran what off the brush we could back into the bottle, and then we dabbed it off, and then we brushed it on to minimize the amount going on. It adds a quicker dry time, and it limits warpage greatly because it's a small application. Then as that dried, we went and shook the cap up this bottle of Streaking Grime, and Streaking Grime, it's an enamel for scale models, so it's an enamel. So as that dried, it didn't have no effect on how this was applied. So what I did is I took this and I thinned it down with just what was in the cap. I shook it up, and whatever was in the cap, I used, and I mixed it with White Spirit, which is a thinner for enamels, which gave me the look I got on there. So the outer surface is an enamel-based application, not an thinned out isopropyl alcohol base. But you do see both of them in there. And so when this dries, it will dry it will dry pretty quick, and it probably will be a little more lighter, just a slight bit lighter, but it will still show the effect that I want. Now, if it still doesn't look right at this point, I will probably add some chalk powder to it, just a little, like a dry brush over it lightly, so it will make everything work. But I don't think I'm going to have to do that, because this has come out so good. And so everything's looking pretty good. Now I just got to do the stairs. I got to do the bracing for the upper part, get that all done. Once I get the stairs on and that on, I have to create the sign for Lily's place. And then I do have a light that I will install. This one, I don't think I'm going to do this one with a powered light, but who knows. I'm gonna leave it, because I'm not having the bottom put on this one just yet. I might change that down the road. I have that option by drilling a hole up here above the door and then running the wire down through the bottom, just so that I have that option to add it later. I'll probably do that just to have it installed, and the wire will be in there. And then I have most of my lighting that I'm going to do for my layout will be plug and go, which is just real simple. Each bay hub has 4 ports that it supports, so I'll probably have a good 10 of those little hubs, which will give at least 12 lighted lights for buildings, and then I'll do something different for maybe street lights or whatever I decide to do. I don't know. However that works out, we'll find out down the road when that time comes. But for now, I'm leaving the option open for the light so that I can have it powered or unpowered, but the light will still go in there. And I got these lights off of Temu, pack of 10, on sale was probably maybe $7. It's not a whole lot. So they are small enough where you can get away with probably using them as N scale. And if it doesn't work out, not a big deal. I do have HO buildings that I will be building, and they can be applied for those. So we'll see you guys later this week with an update to this build. Just wanted to again come on and show you. This is dried for a minute, so let's zoom back in so you can see a little bit better. See how it's already starting to look a little lighter. It won't get much lighter, but zoom in all the way here. If you look very carefully, if you look right down in here, you can see, because I glued, these are 2x4s onto cardboard, you can see how the boards are lifting just ever so lightly on their own, because I put alcohol down and I put all the stain down so it dries. So as you see, you can see like things popping up like if they were warped just slightly from age, and that is an awesome look because it makes it look natural. I mean, this thing's been glued in place for a couple weeks now, so it's dried glue, and it still absorbed a little bit and popped up just a little bit, and that's okay. I gotta fix this little stub over here because I popped it off with my brush by accident, so we'll get that all glued back in place, and we'll see how it all goes from there. So anyway, with that, we're gonna call it a night, and we'll be back hopefully sometime later this week with a little bit more work done. I'm hoping to get the stairs completed and go over how I did that and did the outcome, and get the stairs installed, and maybe even work on the lower part of the stair hub here, so that can all get done. I'm hoping to have that all done. I just got to do bracing and figure out how the design of bracing I want to do for it, that kind of thing, so we can have strength under all of that. And then, yeah, get the stairs put in this right here. Once that's done, I can then start looking at signage for the rooftop. I also gotta get the ridge cap done for the roof. Now that this is in place and solid, I can do that, and then I can work on the eave trim. So as smaller details for that. So I've got the ridge cap, the sign, the eave work, the stairs, and then the bracing for the staircase. And then beyond that, there's really not a whole lot to really do left on this build, really. Maybe install a light right here. Who knows? I haven't really decided how I'm going to do the lighting on this upper deck portion, but it may be that, because I don't know. Maybe we'll do, some places have lighting out here on the decking. Who knows? But we'll figure that out as it comes. Those are small details, and maybe I can find some benches that I can put on here for the restaurant part up here. That would fit, but because this is so small of a deck and build, it's going to be a little tricky, unless they're 3D printed, and I know I can find them in 3D printed. It's just a matter of finding them and making them not look plastic, and applying them, because this is an all wood kit. I'd rather just, I've never really mixed plastic and wood, so it would be the first time to try to make it work. But, that's the only way that I know to make it kind of come together as a whole piece, that kind of thing. And we'll see. So, till later this week, guys. We'll see you then. You guys have a good week. And we'll talk to you later. Alright, guys.